10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast, episode 197. Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 197 of the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast. Hope you are all doing well out there. Really wonderful to have you back on another Friday for yet another episode. If you're brand new to the show, my name is Nick Manella. I'm the creator and host of this program, and we're almost at 200 episodes. Pretty amazing. When I first started this thing, I had no idea that all of you out there would be listening each and every week and that this podcast would grow into what it is currently. And I just really want to thank everybody out there for hanging with us every single week. Hope you're getting a lot out of this show. And just thank you for being a faithful listener and turning this program into kind of a worldwide thing. We've got listeners from all over the globe. And it's just so wonderful to see so many people trying to improve their jazz skills week in and week out. So before we jump into the show, I got to thank a couple of people for signing up for Patreon this week. If you don't know what Patreon is, it's a great way to support this podcast and get a bunch of really cool stuff in return. You get access to all 197 PDFs that we've ever done, and you also get a lot of other really cool stuff. Our first ear training podcast is debuting the end of this month for our Patreon members, and that is going to be huge for you guys to be able to practice your ear training month after month and get so much better at the essential skill of being able to hear what's going on in music. So I gotta give a big shout out to 4 people this week. Thank you to Jack, Darren, Wayne, and Joao for signing up for Patreon. Thank you guys so much. If you would like to sign up for Patreon, it only costs $3 a month to support the show. Now think about that for a second. We give you guys like 8 lessons a month. Most teachers charge $60 an hour for their lessons, and we are giving you 8 lessons a month for only $3. So if you can spare that money, please do so. Please go over to 10minutejazzlessonpodcast.com, click on one of the Patreon banners, and get yourself signed up. Get all these fantastic returns for like, a 20th of 1 hour of private lessons, and you guys get one every single week. So thank you to all the people who are signed up for that. You really make this show possible. And if you're not supporting us, please consider doing so. We would really appreciate it. 10minutejazzlesson.com. Click on one of the Patreon banners. Get signed up today. All right, let's continue our series on melodic fragments. Today we're going to get a little bit deeper into this subject. So the goal, as always, here is to build on our skills. So up until now, we've been practicing our 3-note melodic fragments. We've been connecting one chord tone to another. So we did 3, 4, 5, we did 5, 6, 7, and we also did 7, 1, 9, right? So now what we need to do is we need to come up with some longer fragments, some fragments that are a little bit more involved and will allow us to lengthen our phrases a little bit and also connect multiple chord tones. So that's what this week is going to be all about, is connecting multiple chord tones through the use of 5-note fragments. So now, instead of just going 3, 4, 5, now we're going to go ahead and connect 3 all the way to 7. So now we have a 5-note fragment, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And what this will result in is a little bit longer lines, a few more options when it comes to utilizing these small melodic fragments to, come up with a motive to base your solo on, or simply be able to hear a smaller portion of the scale rather than the entire thing. And again, what's really important about this is that we start on a chord tone and we end on a chord tone, but it's not always like 1-to-1, which is exactly what a scale does. You're always connecting the root to another root, an octave up. this is going to allow us to connect more interesting notes like the 3 to the 7. There you're not even playing the root at all, right? So that's kind of a cure for that rootitis that so many of us have that we've done episodes on. And this is really going to get you to start hearing different things by starting on different chord tones and moving in fragments that you may not have thought of before you practice this stuff. It's really going to open up a different world of playing. So if you look at example 1, again, we're working on the B-flat blues. That's what we're doing for this entire series. It's just a great place to start. And you can move this to any tune that you would like, but we're starting with the blues. Makes a lot of sense. So if you look at example number 1, what I have is the melodic fragment connecting 3 to 7. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And again, when we have two measures of the same chord, just like we do in measure 3 and 4, we're going to do one ascending and one descending. And this is an important thing for you to be able to do. Everything that you can play ascending, you want to be able to play descending as well so that you have options when you're playing. So let's check out what this 5-note melodic fragment sounds like over the blues. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, ascending, and then a few of the descending lines. Check it out. So you can hear just a longer line in general, right? Takes up a little bit more space in the measure, more options to choose from, different sounds, just more rich than the 3-note segment. Now, that's not to discount the 3-note segment. You could really work on trying to play as interesting of a solo as you possibly can, but we like to make progressions here on the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson podcast. We like to move from something that's easy to something that's more difficult, and hopefully that evolves your playing a little bit as you keep going. So the second one, you guessed it, is going to be a 5-note segment that goes from the 5th to the 9th. So that's combining our 5, 6, 7 and our 7, 8, 9, or 7, 1, 9. So this one's going to be 5, 6, 7, 1, 9. And again, the really important thing here is to listen to how different this sounds than the one that we just played. Gives you a completely different set of notes. It gives you a totally different texture because of those different notes that are present. All right, so let's check out example number 2, which is the same exercise, but now we're using 5, 6, 7, 1, 9 as our 5-note melodic fragment. So I just love that sound of ending up on the 9th. It's just one of my favorite sounds. If you are looking to get the 9th in your playing in a real way, this is the perfect way to do that. If you're somebody who's like just starting to get into extensions, the logical first extension to use is 9. And these little fragments are just great ways to get that 9th into your playing. So now I'm going to do something a little bit different that I want you to try this week. I want you to try to switch off by measure, playing the 2 fragments. So in measure 1, I'll play 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In measure 2, I'll play the 5, 6, 7, 1, 9. And I'm going to go back and forth so that you can really hear the difference between these 2 fragments, bar after bar after bar. And this would obviously be the next step. It takes a little bit more thinking, but I think this would be a great exercise for you, and it'll really get your ears used to the 2 different fragments. Let's do like a chorus or 2 of that. So that's kind of a nice way to just randomize things. And you could hear towards the end, I was mixing them up just kind of randomly and trying to do ascending, descending, anything I could think of to just increase my ability to be able to start wherever I want, play in any direction that I want, and also play the fragment that just kind of comes to mind immediately. And that's going to take a little while to get into your playing, but just like everything in improvisation, takes a little while. Got to get used to it. Got to get over the hump. So hopefully that was valuable to you. Next week, we're going to conclude this series with one more episode before we do our tune of the month. And I think next week's episode is probably going to be the most important one, but I want you to take care of all this preliminary work first, because next week's episode is really going to require you to have a really good handle on the stuff that has been presented so far in this series. So remember, if you want to grab the PDF, go over to Patreon. $3 a month. Pretty good deal, in my opinion. And we've got a ton of people over there that are benefiting from that each and every week. So 10minutejazzlesson.com. Click on one of the Patreon banners. Also, post any questions you might have about this material in the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson community Facebook group. We've got a lot of awesome stuff going on over there. People doing transcriptions, people posting questions. It's just a general forum for everything jazz related. So definitely get over there, become part of that community. We'd love to have you. All right, everybody. I'm going to close out the episode by, again, just improvising a little bit over the blues, using some of these 5-note fragments, and we'll see you next Friday with a brand new episode. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.